YouTube, what's going on? It's Mesa back at it with some Destiny 2 news. Alright guys, you know me, I'm always scanning the interwebs looking for Destiny 2 news. Got two articles that just came out today, and as usual, there's some tasty nuggets in there, which we're going to go through in this video. And you guys know me, I'm going to link both of these articles in the description, but we're just going to go through the stuff that we either don't know about, and obviously are going to spark some pretty good conversation. One of them is about the beta, obviously, and what we might be getting with the beta, but then also about characters either returning or not even returning. So the first article is from PlayStation Lifestyle, and I'm going to link it in the description, and it's a pretty tasty interview with Luke Smith. Now, he talks a little bit about the beta. Now, just if you're new to Destiny, or just getting into Destiny 2, the beta is more than likely going to be what we played at the reveal, which was the Strike, the Inverted Spire, the PvP mode, Countdown, and also one of the story missions. Believe it or not, I did get a number of comments in some of the videos and Twitter questions saying, will my stuff from the beta carry over to the final game? It's not going to be like the Destiny 1 beta, okay? It's going to be, I think, or the way it's alluded to in this interview and plus in many other interviews, is that it's going to be the build that we played. So you can have a preset character, we're going to have our Sentinel, we could play as the other classes, the Dawnblade, the Pole Dancers, everyone's calling Arcstrider, and you're probably just going to have preset load of weapons, preset load of armor, and abilities basically, and nothing is going to be like starting from scratch, kind of like how with Destiny 1, you went in there, you started a Guardian, you did the whole first story mission, you had the whole Cosmodrome to patrol, so forth. It's going to be just a basic build. However, listen to this quote from Luke Smith. In part of one of Luke Smith's answers, he says the beta is going to be a similar extension with a couple of new things that's going to come out in July. So it's an opportunity to get people more hands-on time with the game and see what they think. Now, the key thing is new things. Now, the only thing that we really haven't seen is the open world type stuff. And in my humble opinion, that's going to be a big selling point in this game. There was another article, I don't have it handy, I think it came out a couple days ago. Some of the developers did talk about how, you know, we have suffered from content droughts, and yes, there will be expansions, but one of the ways that they're going to try to keep us busy as we burn through content is with the whole open world stuff. The treasure maps, the lost sectors, public events, storytelling through the environment. They want us, like, we're going to have our story about Zavala, and that's the main story. I'll touch on that. That's also addressed in this article. Then we're going to have our little side things to do with Cade and Ikora. We have to go find them. But the main story is going to be Zavala. But the stories about the destinations and how they came to be, that's all going to be told through either the main story, but then also all these adventures. And in previous videos, numerous developers said the adventures are going to be like about maybe 15-minute long narrative type things. So I almost see them as kind of like mini strikes. Then we're going to have the lost sectors. Or is it dead sectors or lost sectors? I get it mixed up every time. Mesa fail. We're going to have lost sectors, which is going to be also another thing. Going to find a treasure map, got to find our way in there, kill some big boss, get some loot. Now, he's asked about the whole weapon tuning system, whether it's PvE, whether it's PvP, and Luke says it's totally different this time. You know, like we're used to Destiny 1, a weapon becomes a problem, and then the entire archetype gets nerfed. Clever dragon. But he's saying this time that all the weapons are pretty much hand-built. I'm going to read this quote verbatim. He goes, because the weapons are all hand-built, we could take a given hand cannon and say, hey, let's change this one hand cannon rather than pave this entire archetype. So we have opportunities in front of us that we haven't had before. So this is something I'm really looking forward to, guys, because look, we've seen too many. It's always one meta. Remember the Red Death and No One's Mercy meta? And then all of a sudden, they all got nerfed, right? And then it was the Clever Dragon meta. Right now, it's all hand cannons, and that's the way it's going to stay until the end of Destiny 1. I know for me, that's all I use is my Lord High Fixer. So I really like that they're going this route, because if something becomes a problem, or maybe if something's not a problem, it's just underwhelming, like let's say a particular exotic, which, in my opinion, exotics should always outperform legendaries, but that's my opinion. Let me know in the comment section what yours is. So the fact that they could go in and just say, hey, this weapon needs to be addressed, let's go tweak it. Then the interviewer asked him about the story, and he, commented how the Zavala trailer, very powerful. You get the feeling of pain, emotion. Zavala dies, he gets rezzed by his ghost and so forth. He gets asked, are we going to get more of that backstory of the Vanguard, more of that kind of emotion and darkness and history? Now, he goes on to say the Zavala piece is really a one-off. We don't have a plan right now to do an equivalent Ikora and Cade piece. So I'm reading into that the Ikora Cade part of the story, those are going to be short. It's really like the main piece is going to be Zavala. He goes, that piece took a long time and has been on a pretty interesting journey to get him to that form that it's in today. Right now, we gotta focus on all our cinematics, time, and energy on the shipping game, and not an asset like that, which is used for a very deliberate purpose. Then he's asked, so it's not something that is part of the game, that we go back and see Zavala's history? That was more of a promotional piece? He goes, yeah, it's more of a universal piece. We feel like it has property that lets you see some of the history of the world, look back a little bit at your time in the universe and say, oh man, that's an awesome place. So, looks like Zavala's going to be the centerpiece, and then the Cade Ikora 6 part of the story, it's not going to be as detailed. We probably rescue them or meet up with them, go on with the story. Now, if you haven't noticed, we've seen a lot of characters we're quite familiar with from Destiny 1, and then there's a bunch that they're just MIA. Where's Eris Morn? Where's Rahool the Ghaul? Where is everybody here? So when asked about a number of those characters, here's Luke's answer. He goes, you're going to have some more exposure to some of those folks for sure. And like the person was asking about Rahool, the Broombot, Amanda Holiday. Then he goes, some will return, some will not. Some of the characters that do not return will not have an explanation. We're not going to say what happened to character X because, you know, we don't need to at this time, and because when character X returns, maybe that character will have a story that they want to tell you about where they went. Certainly some of those characters like Rahool, he goes, I mean, what's a Destiny game that doesn't have a crypt arc? So more than likely Rahool's going to be back based on that sentence right there. But, you know, we were talking about this on Guardian Radio, and I was saying, you know, they were saying, well, why not bring back everybody? You know, guys, when it comes to voice acting, maybe some people were just not available. You know, this happens a lot in games and movies. People can't show up for the sequel. So we'll have to see. And I remember back when Scott and Chris made Rise of Iron, their storytelling approach was, okay, let's pick a character and build a story around them. And at the time, they said, you know what, let's build a story around Lord Garden Saladin, okay? And they even mentioned, they said, you know what, maybe it'd be cool to tell the story of Xur, or maybe tell the story of Rahool. And, you know, if the new Trials really is called Trials of the Nine, perhaps maybe we'll get some backstory on good old Xur. Who knows? Maybe he'll be more useful in Destiny 2 than he is in Destiny 1. So that was it for that article, okay? But there's another article from, well, actually, that's what I want to cover here. You can read it at your leisure. Link will be in the description. There's some more stuff in there, but that's what we don't know or stuff that I found interesting. Next up is an article from Game Rant, where they also, Luke Smith, talked to the official PlayStation Magazine UK, where it says Luke Smith reveals that the game will offer more to do than any Bungie game ever. Bungie previously detailed new mission types called Lost Sectors and Adventures. These promise plenty of replayability for players and should keep them exploring and enjoying the game world for a while. That's what I was referring to in another article, I think it was from PC Gamer or something, where they built Lost Sectors and the Adventures to basically, one, teach us about the worlds, but then also they mentioned replayability. Remember, we're getting those flashpoints where from previous news videos, I make way too many news videos, but hey, I hope you guys like it. In a previous video, when they talk about flashpoints, they're going to take a section of a destination and kind of make it like an event or something where each week it'll be a new like part of that destination that'll be roped off, and we'll have to do some sort of activities there with other players probably and get Nightfall tier and very powerful rewards. Now I'm telling you, the open world stuff is what I'm most excited for. I mean, look, I love patrolling, but in Destiny 1 it is kind of repetitive, right? Same patrols, whatever. Additionally, Smith tells the publication that Destiny 2 will feature treasure hunts. Although details on these quests for hidden loot were sparse, they were reportedly involving special maps. In a previous video or two, I covered that there's going to be like, we'll go to a destination part, and there'll be some sort of marker or indicator that, hey, we're onto something here. We need to go further explore. This is more the way that they're going to tell us the story of these new destinations. Game Rant goes on to say, it's unclear whether this will involve textual clues or players will have to use their knowledge of a location and its landmark to figure out where the treasure is hidden. I'm thinking it's going to be more visual stuff. You know, in previous articles, they have talked about, or they use the words that, hey, there's going to be some sort of markers or something in the destination that's going to point you in a direction that you want to go explore. Then at the end of the article, they kind of touch a little bit more on, they really are focusing on a much larger story. I know we all complain that the story from Vanilla Destiny was kind of short. But some quotes I'm going to read. On the top of all the treasure maps, adventures, and excuses to explore the world, there will also be the weekly activities called flashpoints. We talked about that. That could all amount to a dizzying amount of content for players to get through. Check this out. Additionally, Destiny 2 will have a much larger focus on story. For those who don't decide to dive into multiplayer or enjoy activities with friends, they could learn about the series' lore as well. The story in the first Destiny was widely panned by fans and critics, but Bungie hopes to get it right the second time around. The developer has clearly learned from its mistakes in terms of narrative content and keeping players entertained. But will the sequel deliver? Everyone is excited to find out. I think they are, guys. I've always said that. Listen, they made leaps and bounds when they went from Vanilla Destiny to the Dark Below to the House of Wolves to the Taken King, especially the Taken King, which Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy were the ones that designed it. You know, they were the lead directors and leading the teams that basically changed all of Destiny 1, the questification of Destiny, putting the Dreadnought on there with all sorts of secrets and chests and keys and things that we had to find out. I mean, I love that stuff. That's why I keep saying it over and over. I mean, if they give us in the beta, just Bungie, quarantine off just a little bit of the European Dead Zone and give us a taste of one of the adventures. Give us a taste of some of the new patrols. Just let us have a look around. That's what I like doing during the Destiny 1 beta, was exploring the Cosmodrome, just having a look around and seeing everything. So anyway, that's it for these two articles, guys. I'm going to link them in the description. Do me a favor, drop a like in this video only if you see fit. Follow me on the Twitter at Mesa Sean. Check out my stream, usually and always on YouTube. And that's it. I am out of here like Vladimir.